Just before all of this craziness happened with COVID-19, you might remember over spring break, I went to Dominican Republic, and something that was really interesting, this resort where we were staying, they had a small forested area, and they had some names on trees and things because I don't necessarily know tropical trees, but I was interested to see there were these mahogany trees. And I know, if you think about really fine furniture and other things, they're a real high dollar tree, and they're native to these areas. So that sort of leads me into this next discussion of why are we having, what is the reason for forest deforestation? And it starts out, we'll get to the high value trees here in a minute, but it starts out that small scale farming. I've just been talking about slash and burn agriculture, and so these little farmers that are running some cows, their soil gets worn out, and so what they do is they burn some more of the forest and encroach on the forest, and that's sort of the beginning of this movement towards grassland. But it ends up that there are some really large cattle companies that are coming in, and they're forcing these small farmers to sell, and so it's becoming a much bigger problem because it's becoming big agriculture that's doing this. In addition to that, in addition to what we had been talking about in the previous video and now here, we have this idea of going in and harvesting of high value trees. Now, when I was talking about the Great Bear Rainforest, I said they weren't going to allow clear cutting, but they're going to allow selective harvest of high value trees. And on the surface, that seems like a really sustainable ecological approach. But here's the problem with that, and this is my mahogany tree example. The problem with that is if you allow people to go into these forests and harvest the mahogany trees, well, these are really big trees. How do you get them out of there? You have to build roads. So you have this impenetrable forest. Yeah, you might have seen some of these documentaries on TV where they have to use the hatchet or machete to just walk through these forests. So you have this impenetrable forest, and you've built a road into it. And sure, they only took one or two mahogany trees, and you've left the rest. But now, this area is accessible to others. And over again, what they find happens is these areas then are further exploited and basically deforested after the fact, after the people have gone in and taken the really high dollar trees, then gradually people go in and they take all the rest of them as well. So road building leads to deforestation as well. And this actually comes up in a discussion later on in this chapter of the problem of deforestation in the Pacific Northwest in our own country. So that'll be something we'll talk about again later on.